Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It's Friday, I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff as ever alongside me, Barry Ferguson here to look back over the Europa League games, and we'll look ahead to the weekend's football in the Scottish Premiership. Here's some of the topics we'll be discussing. Yeah, let's get into it then. Europa League last night, contrasting fortunes for Rangers and Celtic over in Moscow. It was just a comedy of errors, really.
Rangers succumbed to a 4-3 defeat to Spartak Moscow last night, despite leading 3 times in the first half. Rangers had been unbeaten all season in Europe, 11 games in total, based on a sole defence. However, all of that defensive solidity went straight out of the window in Moscow. The game couldn't have started much better for the Gers, as a Middleton corner was headed by Eremenko into his own net to give them the lead. Daniel Candeias then lost his runner at the far post, allowing Melgarejo to score a diving header, but the Spartak left-back then returned the favour as he let Candeias run off him and coolly turn and finish to make it 2-1 Rangers. John Flanagan did not have his best game in a Rangers shirt, and he let his man go, who cut it back, and Connor Goldson sliced into his own net. The action-packed first half wasn't finished there, as Spartak literally played Glenn Middleton through for a one-on-one, and the teenager convincingly tucked it away. The second half was the undoing of Gerrard's team, however, as Spartak scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. The first, after another impressive Alan McGregor save, was headed in by Luis Adriano, before the Russians somehow gained the ball from Rangers' kickoff, and Hani shot from distance, with Goldson once again deflecting into his own net. Gerrard said after the game that his team are punching above their weight in Europe.
The reality is we're punching above our weight at the moment, and we're doing really, really well. If you're talking about Europe in general, we predicted at the beginning that it'd go to the wire when the group was announced, and I still think that'll be the case. I'm actually really excited this morning, looking forward to the Villarreal game. I can't wait for it.
The Gers are now third in their group, behind Spartak on goal difference, but despite this, qualification is in their own hands, as they take on Villarreal at home for a trip to Vienna, knowing 6 points guarantees progression.
Well, Steven Gerrard's going through a huge learning curve, and 24 hours seems to be the time when he gets that cooling off period. After the game, he slaughtered that back line of Rangers for their defending. At times he said it was 12 and 13-year-old schoolboys, and they should be able to clear a ball, with their less favoured foot. But he didn't want to be too critical. I don't think he'd have been any more critical of them. And then 24 hours later, I think he calmed down on it, because you've got to get the players that you brought in still on your side for this one. What did you make of the game, Barry?
Well, defensively, that's probably the worst I've seen Rangers. Back four. Alan McGregor, for me, again, was outstanding, but he's built a solid defensive unit, and that's probably the worst I've seen him last night. I've got to agree with him that simple defending that let them down last night. If you go away from home, Peter, and you score 3 goals, you'd expect to come back with 3 points, if not a point at least. So really disappointing defending last night. On the other hand, I thought they looked really dangerous on the counter-attack. Spartak as well at the back didn't look too great. But overall, again, I'll go back to it. If you score 3 goals away from home, you should be coming home with, if it's no 3 points, at least a point.
Steven Gerrard, I think, is going through this difficult process, Ruffy, where he was a great player, but Barry's gone through this similar thing. We talked about it in previous programmes. He now is looking at players that can't do what he could do. And quite simply, last night, I thought Spartak Moscow were there for the taking. They were mediocre.
Yeah, well, that's why they're bottom of that group. Everybody else is hammering them. So obviously Rangers went over there and expected to win it. And with the goals that they scored, you thought they would have. You would have thought they'd been organised enough, as they were in Villarreal. When they sat in there and made it hard for them and come away with a point. A point would have done. last night, but he never got it. But you're right, you know, at the level he played at, you know, that's the thing you've got to get your head round. It doesn't matter who you are, you know, what level you drop down to. You've got to try and get your mindset round of, okay, they're not as good as the players I worked with, but they're doing their best, and where they are just now is where they weren't 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Closer to home with regards to Rangers, this is what Steven Gerrard had to say today about the formal complaint from the club against Willie Collum.
I think he's a good ref in general. You know, he's just being picked to be a ref for UEFA. It's not a personal issue at all. We all make mistakes. We're all human. I think it's my responsibility to support the referees and the officials in this country. It's not really a big talking matter. It's just a clear mistake, and we're trying to get it resurrected.
Okay, there are two issues here, Barry. I think Steven Gerrard has got a good case on the basis of, I think they need to look at the rules with regards to the Candace situation. I thought he was wrongly second yellow carded and sent off. So they can look at the yellow card issue. That's one thing, and Steven Gerrard says it's not personal. I do think that Rangers as a football club have, again, you know, opened up Willie Collum to the mob by their criticism of him and questioning his decisions in previous games.
Yep, I agree with you regarding the Willie Collum's got an agenda against Rangers Football Club. I think it's wrong. Look, we all know he made a bad mistake. Let's be honest, it was a bad mistake against St Mirren, but he's only human. He's made the mistake. He's obviously got a bit of... People have had their say on it, whether it be in the media or whatever, but to come out and say that man's got an agenda against Rangers Football Club is wrong for me. Willie Collum's refereed games I've been involved in. I always found him to be a very good referee, honest enough. But again, you've got to remember, these guys have got a split second to make a decision. They've not got the luxury of having video replays or whatever. But no, I feel from, I thought when I seen the statement, that I was like to myself, not another statement coming out for Rangers. Whoever's writing these statements, I think they need to have a good long hard look at themselves. Yeah,
sometimes I think it's thrown out there as a smokescreen, Ruffy, for certain situations to get certain members of the Rangers support online as if this is some kind of campaign, conspiracy, injustice, you name it. You know, you can create a siege mentality providing you've got enough legitimate evidence. But over and above that, if you've got a grievance, you know, do it with a bit of class and go and speak to the SFA. But this, you know, there are members of the SFA who agree with us. Well, if that's the case, name the names and you know, and get the names out there, because you've been quick enough to highlight that before. When people are out of order, you want to know their names. You know, I just think they've actually descended into almost, you know, it's pandering to a set of people that really, you know, can cause you major problems if you're a referee. Willie Collum has now been tarred with this assessment that he's got it in for Rangers.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be lots of Rangers supporters like Barry aren't happy with, we don't know who's releasing it or who's given the okay to release it.
It's sanctioned by the board. You can't release any statement without the board saying, yep, that's okay.
I think there's a lot of supporters would like Rangers to move on. You know, it is... We all know where Rangers were, and we can debate here forever, you know what happened, how they went down the leagues and whatever, but I think a lot of Rangers supporters would want to draw a line and go, right, let's move on, let's forget about what happened in the past, instead of keep throwing up these things, you know, and it just doesn't look good from a club's point of view.
Yeah. I don't think they should move on, Barry, for the issue. I think they should highlight it to the SFA and say, look, maybe everybody collectively needs to get together to change that rule so you can contest certain things which are a miscarriage of justice. That's fair. I don't think they should move on from that. I think they should stick to their guns on that, because everybody thinks Daniel Candace, unfortunately, was wrongly second yellow carded.
Right, regarding the statement, that's the only thing that I agreed with. They do need to sit round the table, like the two bookings, that you can't contest it. Look, I was watching the game last week and I was disappointed. I knew right away Willie Collum had made a mistake. We all knew that. Yeah. But again, I keep going back to it. It's a genuine mistake. I don't think the guy has got anything against Rangers Football Club. I honestly don't. I think he's a top referee. He has made a few mistakes in the past, but Willie Collum's he's one of your best referees. He's always refereeing the live televised games. So he's going to be in the limelight all the time, he's going to make some mistakes. But to come out and say that he's got an agenda against Rangers, I'm not buying into that.
Yeah, he's out of the Aberdeen-Hibs game, but that's due to an injury picked up on European duty. But you can give us your thoughts on that. There are about 2 or 3 different issues with regards to the Willie Collum situation. We're not in any way debating, I think, that Candace was sent off given the red card wrongly. I think it's the other issues which you can give us your thoughts on YouTube, Facebook and of course Twitter as well at PLZ Soccer. Okay, in contrast to that, the disco lights were on. There was a packed Celtic Park, hoping that it was another European night to remember, and as our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi reports on this one, it was indeed a special night.
Brendan Rodgers hailed last night's 2-1 win over Red Bull Leipzig in Europa League as the best of his reign. The atmosphere was electric from the start, with the much anticipated light display showcasing Celtic's intention of their stadium being considered one of the best in Europe. Leipzig, however, got off to the better start, dominating early possession. But with Celtic's first real attack, James Forrest beat his man and crossed it low to the feet of Kieran Tierney, who rattled the ball hard under the keeper, cueing Parkhead to erupt. The Hoops' intensity rose from there, with Ryan Christie epitomising the energy and determination of his team. After the break, Leipzig equalised through a Jean-Kevin Augustin header. The full contingent of German fans made their voices heard, but not for long. Celtic replied 14 seconds after kick-off, with Christie cutting back to give Odsonne Edouard an open goal and earn Celtic a vital 3 points. Rodgers felt it was a proper performance from his team.
I would go with that. I think we've performed really well at times over the couple of seasons, and sometimes had good results and sometimes not. But I think tonight was a proper win for us against a top-class side, sitting third in their domestic league. Everyone knows the quality of Leipzig. So for us to produce that level of performance and gain a victory.
Celtic now sit third in the group, knowing that they will have to better Leipzig's last 2 results to qualify. However, this win will give them a huge confidence boost heading into their final group fixtures.
Brendan Rodgers just picking up on that point, Ruffy says it was a proper win because it was against top quality opposition.
Yeah, it certainly was. You know, then at the end of the day, the result was tremendous. You know, I think the whole atmosphere in the stadium looked absolutely fantastic. For me, the 3 standouts were Tierney and Forrest and Christie. I thought they were superb. There was the odd wobble, as you get with Celtic, that Leipzig never capitalised on. But at the end of the day, you get the result, you celebrate it. They know it's going to be difficult. They've got another home game coming up that's going to be a tough one as well. But I'm sure the fans went away last night in joyous mood. Yeah,
as a midfielder, you'll appreciate this, Barry. 56 touches, I think 22 out of 28 passes complete, 10 tackles, 1 out of 10, 5 ball recoveries, 1 assist. Ryan Christie could go home in dreamland.
Yeah, it's a no bad night for him. Again, I've says, I think the last month since he's broke into that Celtic team, I wouldn't say surprise is a word, but look, I knew he always had decent ability, but he's come in and he looks as if he's went away and worked hard on his game, whether that be in the gym or on the training pitch, and he's producing. Now, he's producing on the big stage. That's a big stage last night for Ryan Christie. It's okay, people saying he's doing it in the league, but he's played against a very good team last night, and as you says, you just went through his assists and his passing and whatever. I think he's got all the attributes to be a real Celtic star.
Yeah, I hate to put a dampener on this, but it was a great night for Celtic, and you know, we're very positive about their performance on the night. You know, I think Brendan Rodgers gets a little tetchy if you try and look too far ahead and put a negative spin on it, but I'm going to offer my assessment. I think both Celtic and Rangers might struggle to get out of their groups.
I think Celtic will. I think Rangers have got a slight chance with obviously Villarreal travelling away. They're not having a great season in La Liga. And Rapid Vienna, let's be honest, are not the best team. So I think Rangers have got the best chance of getting out of their group. On the other hand, Celtic, I think they will beat Rosenborg away from home. But when is it Salzburg, Company Town? They're decent.
Yeah,
they're a good team. So I think it'll be more difficult for Celtic. But I'm hoping. Listen, it's good for Scottish football if the two of them do get out of the group.
Ruffy?
I hope the two of them get out of the group, but they've made it very difficult for themselves. It could have been a lot easier. As usual, you know, we'll be hanging on to the last games to see what happens. And again, Celtic will need a massive at home, you know, to win that one. And I think Rangers are probably getting an easier one in their group. You know, if you look at the teams they've got to play, home game, they're very, very good. And as Barry said, the other team just can't beat anybody.
Yep, OK. We're going to move on to more domestic issues now. And no surprise that Anne Budge, the Hearts owner, released a statement today just basically highlighting that anyone who is caught misbehaving inside Tynecastle will have a lifetime ban, damaging Tynecastle or any other stadium, throwing any object in the stadium which could cause injury. She's also highlighted throwing anything on the pitch that could cause damage. This, of course, would also take into consideration flares, singing songs, flying flags recognised as being sectarian, racist or political, trying to bring pyrotechnics as well in or using them once inside. Lifetime ban. And I think she's also going to target areas where they've been problematic inside the stadium. We will not sit back and allow the reputation we have fought so hard to rebuild be damaged by the mindless acts of a few individuals. And I think well done to Anne Budge, because every incident that I can think of, she has come down with a ruthless fist on every issue and said, they're going to be banned, and if she gets them, they're out, and I think she should be applauded.
Yep, I think everything that she comes out with, what's happened in the past, she's spot on. I like that. She's just been honest, brutally honest. If there's anything happening inside that stadium that she's not happy with, there's lifetime bans now. Hopefully the fans will take that on board and there'll be no trouble. Yeah,
I think she was waiting. You know, there was a joint statement with Leanne Dempster, which again shows that football clubs can unite. Yes, you can have rivalry. Yes, you can have banter. But once you cross the line, she was just waiting, I think, for an investigation from Police Scotland before she obviously made an individual statement on behalf of Hearts.
Yeah, in the midst of all the bad things that are happening, you have to realise that Hibs and Hearts have got another 17,000, 18,000 supporters that you've got to say, look, you're the guys we're thinking about. These are the guys that we're going to protect against the idiots to bring your club down. So I don't think she's missed anything out, and that can only be good for Scottish football.
Yep, OK. Let's look at the weekend's fixtures for you. There's some tasty games to look forward to. Aberdeen Hibs tonight, obviously not too far away from kick-off. Dundee St Mirren, Hearts Kilmarnock, St Johnstone against Hamilton. And on the Sunday, the early kick-off is Livingston Celtic, and then Rangers against Motherwell. So first of all, full marks to Aberdeen after all the negativity surrounding their support in the semi-final. 18,000 tickets sold at their full allocation. You never know, somebody might give them a few thousand more, Ruffy.
Yeah, and it'll add to the game itself. You know, we want to see good colour at the games. We need to see like a lot of banter, a lot of singing. You know, and that's what the game will bring. You know, and I'll keep saying this. They've attracted another 8,000 supporters that they didn't have. These are the guys that have to keep a hold of for their club.
Yeah, and girls. The other thing I was going to say to you is Aberdeen against Hibs. Give us your prediction.
I'm going to go Aberdeen 2-1. I think Hibs are just off the boil just a wee bit. Lots of games. Lenny's already thrown that up there. I think Aberdeen are absolutely buoyant, so I'm going to go 2-1 Aberdeen.
I think Aberdeen will just edge it because they're at home, and listen, they've had a good week last week, 3 good victories, so I'll go with Aberdeen. Yep,
I'm going to go there with you. OK, Dundee against St Mirren. Many people would suggest at the bottom end, you know, points are hard to come by. These two are struggling in 12th and 11th position. St Mirren boss Oran Kearney. Maybe somebody will tell them it's not just another 3 points.
I think both teams obviously are craving the 3 points. But with that, it just is 3 points, the same 3 points that's available every other weekend. So, and I've seen it happen loads of times before, a game being built up and one team winning, the other team losing, and the following week the results reverse themselves and they're right back to where they were a week later. So it very much is the 3 points that are available. But I think it's more not just the result. I think it's more current form and current results. I think it would be nice to finish that run and hopefully start a new run.
Well, I love his take on it, Ruffy, but you know, 1 win in 13 and no wins in 12 tells you all you need to know about these two.
Yeah, but it's very early in the season, but it's a pressure game. It's a pressure game for both sides. If either of the two of them win it, you know, there's going to be a gap created, and sometimes these gaps don't get closed. So, big game. Whoever wins it takes the spoils, and they could just improve their season.
Yeah, who do you think's going to win it?
I think Dundee will win it with the home advantage. I saw some games, they're creating chances where I don't think St Mirren are.
Yeah, Ryan Edwards mentioned the fact in the last 24 hours that St Mirren need to have a big game mentality for Dundee, never mind getting themselves up for the visit of Rangers and Celtic, Barry.
Yeah, listen, this is going to be one cagey affair tomorrow. Squeaky bum time for both of the teams, but I think Jim will get it right in the day. I think Dundee will have that bit more quality than St Mirren do. I think they'll just nick it.
Yeah, Hearts against Kilmarnock. Ruffy, I think Peter Haring is delaying a hernia operation just basically to try and help them out till they somehow get to that January transfer window and strengthen. You never know. Even talk this week of Christophe Berra coming back early, maybe even Stephen Naismith with their injuries.
Yeah, well, I think any team now that gets Hearts will be saying, look, this is the ideal time to get them. Strikers out, defenders out. And Kilmarnock will go there, thinking they can take something out of the game. I think if Kilmarnock were to get a draw, they'd be happy with that one.
Yeah.
No, I'm fancying Hearts for this one. I know they're missing very important players, but home advantage, Kilmarnock bad result, I think that'll affect them last week, losing the last couple of minutes against Aberdeen, so I'll go for Hearts.
Yeah, and maybe a chance for you to call Boydie and say, look, the stadium, it's really tight, they're close to you, just think twice.
Do you know what, we'll go back to that. I loved it.
So did I.
Do you know what, that's what's missing. I hear people complaining about it. The Aberdeen fans are getting Boydie about it for eating all the pies or whatever you want to say. Boydie scored a goal, he's given them a bit back. I don't see that being a problem.
I love it. I especially love. I mean, you know what he's like anyway. But I especially love Chris Boyd at it because I think he does. It's a good bit of banter. There's not a vicious bone in his body with this. This is a good noise up.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with anybody who scores a goal. Having never scored a goal, I don't know what goes through you when you actually hit the back of the net. It must be the most joyous moment if you're training all week and then you get to score a goal. So I don't mind people celebrating whatever way they like.
Yeah. Well, Barry did that in his first Old Firm goal. You just run about and go, yay! I don't know where to run, but yes.
I was running quick because I was beside the Celtic fans.
Okay.
But listen, I like that. Listen, there's nothing wrong with celebrating.
Absolutely. St Johnstone, Hamilton. Martin Canning says it's time they got a result against St Johnstone. Tommy Wright's a big fan of the show and he's watching closely, Ruffy. I do think the Saints will win this. I don't know what Hamilton have got at the moment.
No, I don't think anybody knows what they've got because even Martin Cannon doesn't know when they're going to come up with 3 points, but I think the home advantage will just win this one. OK,
just before we finish, guys, Livingston Celtic briefly because we've obviously discussed them at great length in the Europa League.
I think Celtic will rotate again, but I think they'll still win.
Barry?
Celtic will be too strong for Livy.
Rangers against Motherwell?
Rangers.
Yep, Rangers for me.
OK then, just before we go, maybe a point to just highlight that sometimes we do get it wrong. It's all about opinions. Here's Barry Ferguson singing from the high heavens about Juventus earlier in the week. Barry and myself have picked the ultimate Champions League winner this year.
Who?
We've both plumped for Juventus.
The strongest team by a country mile.
Yeah.
Shongest team.
Who have you gone for?
If they don't win it, will you quite
He's
happy to sacrifice 10 of your points?
No problem. Shake on that. No problem.
You're sacrificing 10 of your points in the predictor.
Yep, I think I'm more than confident Juventus will win it.
I think the only one that could threaten them potentially is Barcelona, Barry.
Yep, I think that's the only competition they've got. Defensively, they're absolute rock solid, and going forward, they've got so many players that can win a game of football. So for me, they are clear favourites.
Yeah, there you are. Listen, don't worry about it. We all get it. By the way, I'm looking and I'm thinking to myself, Man United have won this game. It was outrageous.
Well, do you know what? No, I'm still believe that they're going to win the
Absolutely,
tournament.
I'm with you on that. Keep the 10 points at the moment, but boy,
that's how confident am I.
Yeah. Oh, listen, don't worry about it. Ruffy will be on them. He'll need more than 10 points, let me tell you, to get back into this competition. OK, hopefully you've enjoyed the programme. You can join us on Monday again. Barry will be back with us on Monday night. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can join us on Facebook Live and, of course, give us your comments at PLZ Soccer on Twitter. From Ruffy, Barry Ferguson and myself, Peter Martin, thanks for watching.